Hi everybody, welcome. How you doing? Just finishing up my morning bike ride, see if I can get you detached and we can go ahead and get started. Today's video, which will not be you looking at the sky. So let me go ahead, let me see if I can just restart this real quick, 1 second. Hello everybody, welcome. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far. Just got done with my morning bike ride. I'm going to set you down here as I disassemble and introduce today's video, which will be about gardening and my garden specifically. This was a request by Kay and his family to see if we could get a picture of what I'm doing in my garden space in my yard. And I know the request was probably geared around the idea that it's springtime and it's flowers are blooming and we have all this wonderful stuff to show. Unfortunately, it's still a little bit early for that here in Georgia. So we have a few daffodils in bloom, and here's some still photos of that. But as you can see, the daffodils are beautiful. The rest of the flowers haven't quite come in yet here in early March. However, I do have a few plants I'm going to show you, some interesting things I've done with them, which are the gardenias, the juniper, and then I've got a few fruit trees that I put in. And those are all things that I put in either in the fall or earlier in the year, so that they're pretty well established by the time we get to this point. So I'll show you those. I'll also have a little bit of a preview of some of the hardscaping I've done. So putting in some stone walls and some fencing, that kind of thing, which are fundamental features to the garden that I've added since I've moved into this place. And that'll be today's video. So to get started, you know what? I've got to get to the front of the house. I'm in my biking clothes. And you know what, to be honest, it's not the best day for lighting. So I've decided I'm going to start using some of the magical powers I have here in the YouTubiverse. I don't know if you're aware of it, but in the YouTubiverse, people have special magical powers. They can just snap their fingers and make things happen. It's really kind of cool. I didn't realize it till a couple videos ago when I was experimenting. And so in the YouTubiverse, what I'm going to do, I'm going to snap my fingers and I'm going to transport myself to the front of the house, change my clothes, and make it a beautiful sunny day all at once. All right, let's give it a shot. And here I am, outside in beautiful blue skies in my gardening clothes, ready to talk about the garden. And the main concept I like to address with gardening is practical gardening. So putting the right plants in the right place to not only look pretty, but also to help out your property, to actually do a job for you. And among the things I talk about within the gardening as well are the hardscaping. And that includes things like this stacked stone wall. So we're going to spend some time talking about the stacked stone as well as the plants. And for the stacked stone, I love this wall. It's one of my favorite things I've done on the property. Its main mission was to keep this area here relatively dry. There was a lot of moisture that would gather in this space when I first moved here. This is on a little hill, so the water comes down and settles. Attracted bugs and mosquitoes and such, so I wanted to contend with that. So I put in this stack wall to raise this up about 18 inches across this part of the property. Keeps the plants behind it happy because they get moisture and sun and they really enjoy that space. And it keeps this space down here nice and dry because it keeps the water flowing away from this zone and lets it dry out when the sun hits it. So very happy with the stacked stone wall. It's basically paved stones. You can get them anywhere, Lowe's, Home Depot. I love them because you can do straight lines with them. You can do curves with them. They're attractive. And the most important thing is they do their job. They affect erosion control, and they also, in this case, create a barrier here so that we can break up the high ground from the low ground. So very happy with that. Now on to the plants. So here we have my gardenia. So this, as you can tell, it's early spring yet. It's only March. It's still green. It's an evergreen plant. I really like it for that. So it doesn't die off in the wintertime. And it stays green and lush throughout the season and all year round, basically, so not just in season. And what it also does is it produces a big white flower. It almost looks like a rose that's very fragrant and very pretty. And as you can tell, they're not even budding out too much yet. They will start here probably in a couple weeks. I'll send you more pictures of that In the meantime, I'll give you some still photos. I love the gardenia for many reasons. A, it's green all year long. B, it's very easy to manage, and it's very robust, meaning it survives all kinds of weather conditions here in Georgia. And 3, it's aesthetically very pleasing, because when those flowers come out, not only are they pretty, but they're also very fragrant, very nice to smell. And you can clip them and take them in and use them in the house, put them in vases and such. Makes for a really nice, appealing way to decorate the house. So that is the gardenia. And right next to the gardenia is the juniper. So that's the little pine looking tree here. It's relatively small at this point. I put it in underneath the little canopy here for now. Eventually this is going to grow to a height of nearly 20 feet. It's what they call a rocket juniper. So it's going to grow up and actually be very, very resilient in the winter time. It's an evergreen. It'll stay colored like it is. I really like that, and the fact that it's going to grow up and it'll add a nice architectural feature to the house. As you can tell, I put it here in the corner, so it'll really accent this side of the house as it grows straight up and create a nice, essentially, feature for the whole property. The other thing I really like it, very like the gardenia, which we were looking at right over there, very deer resistant. The deer do not like them at all, and that's very important in Georgia because we have a ton of deer. The deer love to eat everything you put in your garden, so having deer resistant things out front is very important. What we're going to look at next are the fruit trees, and I keep them behind a fence because they will be just gobbled up by the deer if you let them outside of a fence area. But the juniper itself, like I said, it's an evergreen. It'll grow narrow and straight, add a nice architectural feature. I put it here in this particular spot because it's a relatively wet area, and it'll be able to soak up some of the moisture and also not have to be watered hardly at all, pretty much all year long. But again, very resilient in the dry weather too. That's another feature of the juniper that helps here in Georgia. So that's the juniper and the gardenias over here. And now we'll go back and look at the fruit trees. Here's some trees in the front of the house. They're the cherry trees. These guys I'm going to highlight because they are really pretty. They come up with really pretty blossoms in the springtime. And I also wanted to highlight, again, back to retaining walls. You're going to tell I love these stacked stone retaining walls. So here on this hill, there used to be a big mud slick that appeared. So you can see how high up this cherry tree is on the hill. And if you come down, you're going to see this hillside was a complete mudslick. The earth had eroded quite a bit, probably 12 to 18 inches. And what that meant is the cherry tree roots were exposed, and as long with the erosion, meaning the loss of the land. So I put in this retaining wall. Again, this is part of my work I've done over the past year and a half for the property. It wraps around here. You can tell the feature of paved stone. You can curve them. You can do all kinds of fun stuff with them. And I put this in as a practical example of how you can do erosion control and basically save your cherry tree. So again, here's the tree going up along the back here. When I first got here, he was almost died because all the roots were exposed. He couldn't get any moisture in the summertime. But now I've got this wonderful retaining wall in, helps him out, keeps him alive and happy, and it also keeps the hillside in place. So again, another example of practical gardening and doing some hardscaping to help out your plants as well as keep your land where it's supposed to be. And here we are with the peach tree. Now I'll see if I can get a close-up here of some of the flowers. Believe it or not, the blooms are actually getting finished for the spring, but you can see the bright pink flowers there. Again, the peach tree will be great. Probably be about 15 feet tall at maturity. Right now it's just a little baby, but once it grows in, it'll be a nice shade tree for this space in the summer. And other bonus with fruit trees, they bear fruit, and that's kind of a nice feature. You can save those for making pies in the wintertime and what have you. Again, being in Georgia, you have such a great growing season, lots of rain, lots of sun, great for producing this kind of an item in your garden. Here is the star of the show. So this is the fruit cocktail tree. As you can tell, lots of super robust flowers coming off it. There's 3 varieties of branches that have been grafted into what is a peach tree essentially. There's peaches, nectarines, and plums. So you can see evidence of that now. If we zoom in here, we're going to see pretty pink flowers for the peaches and the nectarines. And if we wrap around here, they're actually almost gone now, but the white buds that came for the plums, you can see where those branches are on the tree as well. So when it matures and starts bearing fruit, you're going to see all kinds of exciting things happening here, because we're going to have different kinds of fruit appearing on the same tree. Like I say, it's kind of an experiment I'm doing. We'll see how it goes. I have a feeling in a couple years it'll go from being a fruit cocktail tree back to being a traditional peach tree, but either way, it'll still work out. It's a nice tree feature for the garden. Okay, and the most exciting thing about this trip to the garden is this, what we see here. You see this little green leaf on the pawpaw tree? I was so happy to see this. I brought this whip up from South Georgia at the end of fall, and I just didn't know if it would survive. It all turned essentially black because I had sit it out in the back deck area for about a month, and we had that deep freeze hit. But I went ahead and planted it anyway, just to see if Mother Nature would find a way, and yay! Mother Nature found a way. We have a little green sprout, so I'm very happy about that. And here I am, back in normal time. So the gray skies are back. Here's the deal with my magical powers in the YouTubiverse. Apparently, I've got to develop my skills in order to make every day a sunny day in the YouTubiverse. For now, my skills are limited, so I can transport to a sunny day, and then I have to transport back to a normal day in order to finish the videos. But I'm going to work on that, see if I can improve my YouTubey powers. For now, hopefully you enjoyed that video, a tour of the garden. That I'm going to call it Garden 1.0 because it's early spring. So we really just got to see some of the trees, some of the blooms coming off the fruit trees, and some of the shrubs, that kind of thing. I'll do a 2.0 version in which we get to see some actual flowers blooming and that kind of thing. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. As part of this video, I'll do a closeout of some violets. So I'll give you some bonus footage of some pretty little wild violets that have come in along my fence. But for now, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video and you have a good rest of your day. Be well, everybody.